What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action, spawning in the bottom of the map in the blue color, playing as Loki. His name is Gaboo. His opponent today in the red color, playing as Ra. His name is Squash. The map is Frozen Wastes. This is just a random ladder game. A random ladder game. I don't know what I'm trying to say. A random ladder game that I stumbled across that I thought, you know what? Let's check it out. I think this map is a really, really fun map to play on. Lots of different options here for Ra. Very, very scary map to play on against Loki as well, especially with that one gold mine. Loki's got to play around a few things in this matchup, namely Tornado, namely Locust, namely the Rock. But if you can play around those things, he has a real good shot at hitting a Flaming Weapons timing, finding victories, or at least taking the game to the late game. And enjoying kind of not a ridiculous amount of trade spam Ra as his opponent, because in the corner of the map, there is no way to build a market there. So the best trade route you're getting is this very open and indefendable spot up to here, which is probably only about 60 gold in all honesty. So it's not even that great of a trade route. So I love this. I love this matchup. I think it kind of levels the playing field. I think a lot of players believe this one is fairly Ra favored, though. The more we see Loki players, especially Matrius, he's at the top of the game with Loki in all honesty, but the more we see Loki players kind of showing ways in which they can play around the weaknesses that Norse has got, namely utilizing the troll against the rock, utilizing the hill fort on your second gold mine, making sure you get your watchtowers out, and really then getting into that late game with the fire giants and the ballista, and focusing on that as opposed to just suiciding your entire army, the better chances we're seeing coming into the Norse players. And now, I think when you're talking about balance and you're talking about this stuff, I think sometimes people get confused between what's easy to do and what's balanced. And if it's like, okay, if something is quite simple to do and it's quite effective, but there is a counter for it, but it's quite hard to pull off the counter. Not that it's hard from a chance-based thing, like 5% of the time you can pull it off, but it's hard from a skill-based thing in that you just have to be very, very high level and aware of how to do it. You know, if it's just that, then it's totally fine for that thing to be the case, which is what I'm talking about here mostly is the troll countering the rock. A little bit challenging. But it's not like a chance-based thing. It's like, okay, you have to track the rock. The rock is quite slow. And you have to have the trolls in the right position. And if you do that, yes, it's easier to send the rock over there and get the raid in. But if you track the rock and you have the map control and you're playing the game at a high level, you should be fine. As we do see that Squash is advancing now through to the classical age, through dark, very, very fast. I like this play. I think if Squash is going to show us here the classical fight Ra on this map, very, very strong. The problem is he doesn't know where the center of the map is for his food. He doesn't really know where to go, and he might end up sending his villagers straight down here and seeing his hunt being grabbed here to some degree. But Gaboo does this a lot, and I think he really needs to consider what the purposes of him building forward is, and he's going for a 440 advance time, which might not seem like a late advance time, but in the current meta, against top-level players, this is a late advance time. And I think you really have to... I mean, you are kind of gambling a bit that your opponent is going for... Gaboo is kind of playing around a Ra style, which is a 5-minute, 15-second advance time into a second town center. But Squash here, he's not doing that. He's going for the classical fight, and he's going to show... why this is a really, really strong strategy. Now, there is a counter to this kind of fast advance time, or at least not a counter, but a way to play against it. But Gaboo is playing into getting pushed off of this center hunt really, really early and being in a very, very difficult position. I'm excited to see how Squash is going to actually utilize this build, because I think this is quite difficult to play against the fast Herser of Gaboo. And Gaboo is actually quite good at dealing with this, but with this later advance time and being in the center of the map, he might find himself getting into some trouble. He is sending that Hearser forward, trying to check if there's a town center going up, but honestly, if he was expecting a fast second town center, it would already be up at this point, so he's not going to be able to get any damage done. We do see a spy onto that Pharaoh over there as the longhouse is coming down. Gaboo moves forward. He's trying to get a little bit of value here. That Pharaoh is not going to find all too many difficulties here. You kind of need a raiding cavalry or Hall of Thanes to get onto that one. Potentially an Ulfsark could be fast enough at 4.8 speed, but those Hearser, they don't quite cut it there at 4.6 speed as the longhouse getting pushed back. We do see one longhouse is up here, but now Squash sees the forward base, and Squash knows he's going to be able to be really aggressive here and get a lot of damage done. If we move over and see what's coming out here for Squash now, still no second barracks. Bit surprised to see that, considering he knows that the forward base is here. He sees the walrus. He sees the villages. The villages have actually left, though. He knows the villages were here. And I guess the question for Squash is, how hard is he going to go on this classical age? Does he want to come in and try and take this center hunt or not? If we take a look at where the villages have gone, they haven't gone far, but Squash doesn't know. He hasn't scouted at all. He's got no idea where the hunt villages are. He will be spotting them with this axeman. I love that fan out there with his army searching for everything, and he spots the villages over here. He's going to turn around immediately and try and put some pressure onto that, but this is giving Gaboo the time he needs to get himself that Hall of Thanes. The problem is he needs houses, and his home Hearser has been sniped down. Great find there. Another house coming down. Hall of Thanes will be able to come through. Lots of units coming out here as the villagers get pushed off of that hunt yet again. This is not good for Gaboo at all. Squash is getting so much value out of one barracks here, ladies and gentlemen. And not only that, he's now grabbing his secondary gold mine really, really early. And it looks to me like he wants to go into farming. He doesn't yet have himself pickaxe or plow or Shadoof. We do see the army coming through, going to push off of that wood line there. It's not the biggest of problems there to just pull that one back, because we do see that troll coming in. Great micro there from Gaboo. Snipes one axeman there. The rest of these units are going to come in, and now Squash's army is going to get caught out here. Squash is going to try and retreat away from this position, but it looks like Gaboo knows this army is here. Squash is probably thinking he's being kind of sneaky here with this retreat path, but the army of Gaboo is just moving across the map, going to be searching for some units to take out. Does find some axemen there with those raiding cavalry. It's super scary. The Hall of Thanes Hearser are also in as the town center has been spotted. Great target fire there on that priest. Going to be slowing the town center from going up here as the axeman here taking down Hearser. You got to be super careful with those Hearser. He does pull one back there as the priest is still getting chased around. We do see that Pharaoh is now on the way. Snipes down the troll there. Gaboo is in a difficult position now. I don't think he's going to be able to stop this town center from going up, as the army of Gaboo has to retreat back here. He looks like he just has not gotten enough stuff out, and Squash smartly, this is the reason why Squash has been able to do this, is because he's done so much economic damage to Gaboo in this early game, and he literally just goes, you know what? I've pushed you off this hunt. I've pushed you off this hunt. I pushed you off this wood. That's enough damage here to just say, I can get this town center up, and it's going to be totally fine. That's the thought process from Squash. He still hasn't got that second barracks up, but he doesn't really need it. And we'll see how things are going to go as the goats just about to expire over here. I'm not sure. Does he have Shadoof? Yes, he does. So this is perfectly coming in. However, still no pickaxe. Does he have
You need to.
husbandry? Yes, he does. But still no pickaxe. A little bit slow on that one. Squash does do this all the time, and I'm not sure I understand why. He always puts these farms out to the side here. I've never understood why, as we do see a sneaky little raid coming through for Gaboo as he's trying to figure this one out. I think that Gaboo kind of needs to get himself a second town center here, or, well, I mean, you got to go for an all-in if you don't, and that's a little bit scary, and it doesn't normally work out so well. Yeah, these farms here don't make a whole lot of sense. Squash is known for his clean play, and the farms look pretty because they're kind of attached. And obviously, he's going to need to put some more farms over here as well. He doesn't want to hunt delete himself, hunt delete these goats here as an armory going to get thrown up there. But definitely maybe a granary here and a granary here. His plan might be to to throw those up a little bit later. Not sure, but we'll have to wait and see. As rain does come down there. A little bit low on the farms for this late of a rain. Kind of 16 is actually pretty good. He's going to shoot up really, really heavily in that one there. As Gaboo gets his armory up. And in all honesty here, a Gaboo heroic age coming in at this point, that's going to be a similar time to Squash off of 2 town centers hitting the heroic age here, but he is putting on some good pressure. He needs to get those Herser to target the Wadget and snipe down that Pharaoh over there, as he does get himself a nice Valkyrie spawn. The villagers coming through. They don't have any upgrades here, but Squash has said he needs to win this fight to some degree. He's going to be taking a lot of damage here. This is great for Gaboo as he's continuing to put this pressure on, but still allowing that Pharaoh the damage over here. I'm surprised to see Gaboo not putting any effort into sniping that one down with some raiding cavalry there, but he wins the fight. Squash is pushed back. At the moment here, Squash is pushed off of gold as well. He stopped production of anything at this moment. He wants to go to the next age. Another barracks is coming down, but Gaboo has found himself a solid advantage here. We'll see if he's going to be able to convert this one or not with some sort of a heroic age timing, which is kind of what he wants to go for. He's still on another longhouse down. He's in the center of the map on these walrus here. But we'll see if things are going to go well. He probably should consider trying to take down this this barracks as well. It takes a long time for those barracks to go up as Egyptian. If you take a look at the barracks, it's 42 seconds a barracks. That's a long time. So any little bit of damage that comes through like that, it can be a big deal here. You do see now Gaboo onto the second goal by no defenses over here. So if Squash does decide to send out a couple of spearmen or something on some raids, can cause some problems. But Squash is now up through Hathor. He wants that Migdol stronghold down on this position. He wants the advantage here. The problem, however, for Squash is if Gaboo decides to just click the go button and just be spending all of his resources, he's actually in for a really difficult time where he could just get pushed off of this town center here from a Gaboo classical age. But Gaboo, at the moment, is deciding to go to the heroic age and push on this location, which is just not going to be as strong as you might think it is, as the Pharaoh here almost falling does manage to stay alive with 12 HP. The unit's retreating back here now into the town center. Going to be getting a lot of damage done. The town center, good focus fire there from Squash. The town center was focus firing the Valkyrie there, but Squash is on the up and up here. He's very, very smart. Let's see if Squash is going to be trying to put up a Migdol stronghold over here. Looks like not just yet. A couple more units coming out here as Gaboo is heading through Bragi. He's continuing to produce units. Herser raiding cavalry, throwing axemen as the army composition. Is that Pharaoh with 1 HP. Still alive here. And we'll see the Migdol stronghold coming up now at this point. And we'll see if Gaboo can get going at this moment to really break through this position. Or if Squash is just going to be able to defend here, because obviously Gaboo wants to attack this location, but a Migdol stronghold, a town center, not full Herser here. I mean, considering Gaboo can kind of see what's happening with this army, he sees 7 axemen. I think he should basically be going full Herser here with the intention of getting a ton of myth unit spawns. Instead of making these thrown action, instead of making these raiding cavalry, just full Herser up to like whatever it is, the 10 Herser, and he should be in a great position. We do see that spearman searching around for a Locust. Gaboo's got all of his dwarves here. That's 17 dwarves. Locust on this position, especially with the forest being here, this could be a big problem. As Squash's rock now coming through, he still has not found this gold mine, and now he spots it. That's going to be a Locust coming down here as soon as he notices it.
Into you.
As the Gaboo army coming through here. Still no Locust onto that position as the spearman causing a little bit of problems over there. The army going to be pushing forward. Squash does pull back nicely. Flaming weapons getting dropped down, as well as the thrown axemen going to be able to clean those spearmen up and those axemen up really, really fast from afar. But you do have to ensure you're microing them here, as Squash is defending really nicely. He's still got this very low HP Pharaoh on the back that he needs to take down. And there we go. Does manage to finish that one off there. The Valkyrie is out as well, as the spearman is back onto this position. The Locust gets dropped down, but Gaboo has spread his dwarves already, it seems, as the battle Battle Ball starting to break down this Migdol stronghold. We do see some mercenary cavalry coming through. Squash at 86 population. Gaboo is at 89 population. Is there enough here for Squash to hold on is the big question. As more Hersa coming through. The Valkyrie getting some good damage done. You've got to be sniping down that priest. It gets a ton more damage done than it should be here. As the Migdol stronghold gets finished off. And can Gaboo continue to get this damage done here in this game? As it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 villagers were picked off with that Locust. As the Battle Ball are now focusing on to this town center here. More Axemen coming out. The Flaming Weapons has now finished up. Gaboo's at 64 pop. Squash is at 69 pop. But Squash has got 1,000 food in the bank. And is on that left gold mine over here mining away. And I'm not sure that these Battle Ball are going to be able to take down this town. And we've also got a Patsukos here, which, little known fact, the Patsukos is doing 100% bonus damage versus myth units and does that. This is one of the few units that the actual tooltip is doing damage per attack rather than DPS. It does 55 damage per attack. So every attack is going to be doing 110 pierce damage to those Battle Balls, which is a significant amount of damage there. As the Battle Balls get cleaned up, and now Gaboo, he's got a couple of options. Option number 1, go Mythic Age. Option number 2, get a town center and call it a day. You have to start thinking about the next stage of this game. You've got to secure your gold mines. The Spearman's still causing some problems over here as Gaboo not paying attention. There he goes, turns around. But look at that from Squash. He's so on top of it. With those, with that micro there, you'd think that he wouldn't be paying attention on that fight, but he absolutely is. Do we have his view lock? No, we don't have his view lock. As the Spearman comes back in. Cheeky shifting sands coming down now for Squash. He's going to get a huge amount of damage. Now, most of these units are Axemen, so they're not doing all too much damage. If Gaboo just retreats back home, it's really not going to be that bad. But these villagers are... Which way are they going? What is that pathfinding from those dwarves? I'm not sure if that was pathfinding or just poor clicking from Gaboo, but he is in a lot of pain here as the army comes through for Gaboo. Going to take a little bit of a fight here. Those Drawn Axemen going to be able to take down those Axemen of Squash very, very quickly. And Squash going to have to retreat back from this position. But now Squash is ready to go. 110 population, moving upwards. Still doesn't have that Migdol stronghold back up, but he doesn't really need it. He can go Axeman, Spearman here pretty heavily, and it's completely fine as the Rock spots the other gold mine operation over there. We'll see if the units are going to move out to harass that one. As the army going to split up over here. Does manage to turn around and snipe a medium raider there, but Gaboo paying attention. Pulls that one back. Nice play. And now Squash can either decide to get himself a town center over here, which is an option, or he can put up a Migdol stronghold on this town center, ensure that he's got this gold mine nice and secure, and find himself a good position here. As Gaboo, I mean, he's still getting hunt in the center of the map, which is really, really good. But the problem is that he's not putting any decent amount of pressure onto Squash. He's not raiding Squash. He's not hitting him in any way. He's just taking these fights with his units here. We do see a Frost Giant spawn. That's huge here. But Squash, sorry, Gaboo needs to be sending units over here, ensuring this town center doesn't go up, pushing off of this gold mine, causing problems. That's where Loki shines. As we do see these Axemen getting sniped down, the villagers returning back onto that gold mine, and Squash is just continuing to keep Gaboo at bay here. As Gaboo is not quite sure where to attack in this position. We do see the priests. Not really enough here. Ra priests are really, really weak. You kind of want to get your Pharaoh involved in these fights. If we take a look at what Squash is doing with his Pharaoh, it's over here. Just bring it forward, utilize it. 16.8 damage, doing 400% bonus damage versus myth units. It's a really, really good unit. Obviously, empowering the gold mine with 14 villages is also a decent usage, but you're going to definitely get more value picking off a myth unit than you will get from that gold mine there, I assume. As the Battle Ball going to go down as well. This attack failing for Gaboo as he is continuing to send units to their death here. And Squash is just kind of happily allowing this as the Throwing Axe will just continue to move through here. And yeah, Gaboo has to figure out a different approach here. He's still got a lot of food in the bank, which is really good for him. But Still in for some difficulties as Squash now gets his third town center up on this position. Walls coming down. I'm sure a Migdol Stronghold will follow suit here very, very shortly. Squash has got himself shaft mine, irrigation. No hand axe just yet. Hand axe is a very, very strong upgrade for Egyptian. There's a raiding cavalry coming over here, going to try and take out the chariot archer on this position. And the ox cart getting sniped there. So annoying. Part of me feels like Gaboo could just take all these villages and just put them onto this gold as well, and that wouldn't be a bad idea here. But Gaboo now finally getting himself that second town center. But is it too little too late? He's out of hunt. No more hunt on the map. He's getting raided over here. Probably could have utilized this town center as a better one. But he is so far behind on the villager count right now. Generally speaking, if Norse is behind on the economy here, if we take a look at the post game, you will notice this. If Norse is behind on the economy, hope is generally lost. And the reason why that is because the Norse economy is just the best economy in the game. But it comes with the cost of you have to be in front to be having an advantage. And with Squash's raids here going so well, I'm not sure what Gaboo can really do. But we'll see if he can hold off the Squash raiding party that is heading straight for this gold mine. We do see a hill fort coming up a little bit late on that one with only 1,000 gold left over here. Wouldn't be a bad idea to just... Oh, there's no gold mine in the corner here. Very, very difficult. Do have a bit of a weird comment in the chat. Someone said that pharaohs shouldn't cost pop. They don't cost pop. Pharaoh is a popless unit. We do see the hill fort coming up here. And the chariot archer is going to be targeting down those medium throwing axemen, finishing those off nicely. Really, I mean, Gaboo here, he's gotten this gold mine, but 900 gold left. And he's got no units out. He will be able to make some Huskal here to deal with those chariot archers, but this is so late for this hill fort. And I just don't think he can lose that ox cart as well here. And in that moment, Gaboo does decide to tap out. Not quite able to make this work. I would have loved to have seen Gaboo just go, I'm not going to go heroic age this game. I'm just going to full send. Because if he'd had any inkling, and he should have based off of the army size that Squash had, because he had vision on that pharaoh, so he knew exactly what Squash had, and he could have made an inference as to what Squash was doing based on that knowledge. And if he just sent everything in the classical age, didn't go to the heroic age, put more longhouses down, just full sent on that town center, I don't think that Squash would have held, and I think Squash would have got gold starved here. Squash definitely played it risky going for that heroic age, but it worked out for him. Getting the Migdol stronghold up was enough to hold that flaming weapons, and the game was his following that with all the raids. Really nice play. If you guys enjoyed this one, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.